Cyberpunk, The Flame That Remains. Written and read by Ethan Taplin. Epilogue, The Flame That Remains. Night City, 2075. To all employees of Emir Skandatech and its subsidiaries. By now, you will have heard the news of our CEO's passing. Dr. Ursa Hrafnsdottir is dead. What remains is you. The thousands of engineers, scientists, administrators, technicians, and families who give your labor and your lives to this company. Emir Skandatech endures not because of a single person, but because of all of you. I have inherited the position of Chief Executive Officer, though it was never a role I sought. Ursa once intended me to be her heir. I choose, instead, to be your servant. No longer will this company produce weapons, nor any other tool of war. From this day forward, Emir Skandatech will return to its roots, creating technology that allows humanity to endure the unendurable, to explore the ocean depths, to reach beyond the atmosphere, to survive in places no one else dares to go. That is the legacy worth keeping. A group of advisors I trust will be traveling between offices during this transition, assisting me in guiding the company's change of direction. Each of them carries a different perspective, and I trust their voices to help ensure Emir does not fall into old patterns again. The road ahead will not be simple, and I will not promise perfection. But I will promise this. Emir Skandatech will change. It will be a flame, one we keep alive together. My name is Sophie Arneson. I am your CEO, and I will not let the flame die. The laboratory still smelled of new paint and chemical cleaners. Fresh glass walls divided open workrooms, their surfaces waiting for the fingerprints and smudges of engineers and scientists not yet arrived. The hum of climate control echoed in the empty corridors as Sophie walked beside a man older than her by decades. His silver-streaked hair was combed back, his posture stiff with caution. "And this, Dr. Kruger," Sophie said as they turned the corner, "will be all yours. This laboratory and an office environment one level up. This building is designed to support up to 20 people working with you, if you want them. The choice is yours. Your team, your direction. As long as your projects further Emir's new mission, I won't interfere." Kruger's gaze wandered across the space as they walked to the stairs. His expression was hard to read, part suspicion, part longing. "You're serious," he said at last. Elias Kruger had been part of the team at Waldman Systems Research responsible for creating the reactive organic mesh. He was the only one Sophie could find. The others had scattered, died, or vanished into obscurity in the years following the Waldman Corporation's collapse. It was ultimately the fault of Emir Skandatech and the Niheimar's theft of the ROM project data that had caused this. It had taken Sophie weeks of searching, chasing faint records through corporate archives and old data leaks before she finally found Dr. Kruger taking quiet work in Zurich, sticking to the margins, and trying to forget the loss of the project that had nearly destroyed his career. She hadn't gone to him with threats, money, or promises of power. Only the truth and an invitation. "Completely," Sophie said as they reached the second floor. They stood just outside the office space, on a balcony walkway overlooking the lab. The office behind them was just on the other side of a window wall with a pair of doors to either side of the balcony. Sophie leaned on the railing and stared down into the lab. "I want you to start with the reactive organic mesh. Not the version Emir twisted it into, but yours. The one you and the other scientists at Waldman envisioned. Suits built for survival. Deep ocean, space exploration, and other hostile environments." Kruger's brow furrowed as he glanced at her. "You want me to build it again, after what your mother did with it?" Sophie shook her head, pushing off the railing. "No, I don't want you to just build it for me. I want you to take it back." They stepped through the double doors into the office. The space was plain, only a desk with a chair on either side, and an empty bookshelf for now. But the air carried the promise of new beginnings. Sophie crossed to the desk and placed two objects upon it. The first was a data shard in a small black case. "Everything Emir, we, stole from Waldman," she said quietly, tapping the shard. "Every fragment of data, every scrap of research. It's yours again." The second was Sophie's own net-running suit. It was folded carefully in her arms, but the damage could not be concealed. It was in tatters, torn, cut, and burnt out. The special fabric and interwoven electronics had long since ceased to function. "And this, my net-running suit, the fruits of Emir's scientists' research for mere creation." She set the ruined garment beside the shard, her expression tightening. "It's proved to be an invaluable resource. I'd appreciate a new one, but it's much more important that you learn from it. Please." Kruger lowered himself into the chair behind the desk, staring at the two relics. His hands hovered over the ruined bodysuit for a long moment, as though afraid it might vanish if he touched it. "You're returning it," he murmured, voice rough with disbelief. "After everything, you're actually giving it all back." Sophie took the chair opposite him, the place of a guest in his office, folding her hands in her lap. "I can't undo what Ursa, Emir, what I stole from you, but I can return it. And what you build next, it won't be anyone's but your own." For the first time, Kruger's suspicions seemed to falter. He let out a slow, uneven breath and leaned back in the chair, eyes lingering on the data shard. "It's been a long time since anyone trusted me with anything that mattered." "Then take this as your new beginning," Sophie said. Sophie left him in the office. The shard and the tattered suit spread out before him like the fragments of a life returned. Out on the balcony, Ares was waiting. He straightened up from his position, leaning against the railing when she emerged, eyes flicking briefly to the office door before settling on her. "Well?" he asked. "He'll stay," Sophie said. Her voice carried fatigue, but also certainty. Ares searched her face for a moment, then lowered his voice. "You told him everything. About Ursa, about you." Sophie nodded once. "If I expect him to trust me with his life's work, I have to trust him with my life story, at least." "That's a lot of faith to put in one man," Ares said, though there was no judgment in his tone. "It has to start somewhere," Sophie replied. "Trust is the only way forward." He smiled, nodding in agreement, then took her hand and changed the subject. "Did I mention how well Arneson suits you? You made a good choice." She'd never been given a surname. Hrafn's daughter didn't suit her, and neither did Ursa's daughter. She'd chosen Arneson instead. Much like her alias, Nornir, it was a name all her own. "You have. A couple of times," she smiled. "I'm glad you think so." Ares slid his arm around her as they began to descend the stairs together. She leaned into him, her body heavy with exhaustion, but steadied by his presence. "I heard back from your siblings," Ares said after a moment. "All three are reporting good things. Progress. Real change." "Good. I need them more than they know." Sophie let out a slow breath, tension easing from her shoulders. She glanced back once, through the glass, where Elias Kruger sat behind his desk, staring down at the relics of his stolen work. He looked less like an engineer than an artist, excitedly staring at a project just beginning to come together. Sophie allowed herself a faint, weary smile. "It's not enough," she murmured. "Not yet. But it's a start." Thank you for listening to Cyberpunk: The Flame That Remains. This story was written and recorded by Ethan Taplin. I did not create nor do I own this setting of Cyberpunk. It belongs to Mike Pondsmith and R. Talsorian Games. I hope you've enjoyed this story, and if you want more, just stay tuned. The sequel, Neon Gods, will be coming soon. If you would like to read it before I get the audio recorded, you can check me out on Royal Road under the username Ethan Writes Stuff, same as the YouTube channel. And if you'd like to support me, you can check out my Patreon. There are links to both of these in the video description.